Okay, so I thought I'd make a short video explaining how to do the additional exercises in week 3 of learning materials, because the answers you need to supply for workbook 1 are very similar. So basically we've got a few variables here. I've opened the homework.sav file. There's my data view page and my variable view page, which you should all be very familiar with by third year. I've got my 5 variables here: ID, weight, TV time, which is time spent watching television, aggression, as you can see there, aggression on a scale of 0 to 20, satisfaction with life, and employment status. They've all been selected as nominal at the moment, whereas weight is, well, you can actually see if you press this button, weight has taken on, has value labels 1, 2 and 3, underweight, ideal weight and overweight. You can see they actually are ordinal, they have a direction to them, they go from low weight to middle weight to heavy weight, so you can actually change that from a nominal variable to an ordinal variable. TV time is a scale variable, it's a continuous variable, so it's scale. Aggression is also on a scale of 0 to 20. Satisfaction with life, you can see actually is on a scale of 1 to 4, from very dissatisfied to very satisfied. So again, that can also be ordinal because it has a direction to the values. They're chronological, they go up. Whereas employment status was just paid employment or not paid employment, so we can leave that as nominal. So we've corrected that. We now need to look at the out of range values. First of all, we'll start with categorical variables. So we've only got 3 categorical variables now: weight, satisfaction and employment. Weight has a scale of, as we just saw, has a scale from 1 to 3. Satisfaction has a scale from 1 to 4. And employment status has a scale from 1 to 2. So we will go up to analyze, descriptives, frequencies, and we'll have a look and see. Oh, the other thing I should point out as well, I should have done that then, is that only weight has been assigned a missing value code of -1. The other ones do not have any missing value codes. So we'll go to analyze, descriptives, frequencies, and we will pop our categorical variables into the variables box and see whether we have any out of range values. So weight, which was allowed to take on the values of 1, 2, or 3 or -1 for the missing values, and that's all we can see there. There are no cases that have taken on any other values. Satisfaction with life was allowed to take on the values from 1 to 4, and that's all. It wasn't assigned a missing value code. And you can see there's 2 cases who have been assigned a value of 5. So these are out of range and they need to be assigned a missing code value, which we need to decide what that is. And employment status also can only take on the values of 1 and 2, but you can see 2 cases have taken on a value of 9, which looks like the researcher has applied a missing value code of 9 but forgotten to tell SPSS, and 2 cases have got no values, so they haven't been identified by the researcher as missing even though they are. So let's look at how we would put these in our answer sheet. So for weight, we say there's no out of range values, and for categorical variables you can't get outliers, so we put none and none. For satisfaction with life, let's go and have a look what the ID values, the subject IDs are, and what the values were. So we can see that the values, we've already been saying that the values of the out of range values were 5, but which subject IDs had these values? So we'll go back to data view, we'll right click on satisfaction and we'll press descending, so we get our highest values first, and we can see that participants with a case ID of 66 and a case ID of 77 took on values of 5. So we need to write that in our answer sheet. So participant 66 with a participant, or the case with an ID of 66 had an out of range value of 5, and the case with the ID 77 had an out of range value of 5. And then we need to go about fixing it. So we'll go to variable view and we'll say for life satisfaction we'd like to assign a missing value code of 9 or -1, it's up to you. We'll say 9, and then we'll go back here where we've got our top values up here and we'll turn those 5s into 9s, which SPSS will read as missing value codes. And so too for employment. It's good just to check, do an ascending check just to make sure there's no missing codes. For employment, we had 2 values with a value of 9. These are currently out of range because they haven't been assigned a missing value code of 9 yet. Employment hasn't been assigned a missing value code of 9. So we can see that case ID with 85 and case ID with 102 had missing values of 9. So you go back to your answer sheet and you write in subject ID 85 had an out of range value of 9 and subject ID 102 had an out of range value of 9. So this column says subject IDs. For out of range values, subject IDs and the actual values. And now you need to go back into variable view and actually assign the missing value code of 9. Okay. Now we also haven't quite finished because we had a couple of system missing values for employment. So you need to sort ascending. You don't need to identify these 2 IDs as out of range because they don't actually have any values, but you do need to actually add the out of range value, the value that we have now, the missing value code to these values rather than using the system missing code because we've now assigned the missing value code. So now we've got 2 continuous variables left, wait and TV time and aggression. So we're going to see whether they have any out of range codes. So we'll go to descriptives and we'll find out what their minimum and maximum values are first. See whether, so time spent watching TV could be anything, any positive value because it obviously can't be a negative value. You can't watch negative hours of television per week. And aggression is measured on a scale of 0 to 20, so all our values need to be between 0 to 20. So let's have a look whether that's actually the case. So here we have time spent watching television. The minimum value is -1, which is obviously out of range. The maximum value is 70, which is reasonable for the moment. It might be an outlier, but it's not an out of range value because this is free to vary with any positive numbers. And then aggression needs to be measured on 0 to 20, between 0 to 20. So a minimum value of 2 is acceptable, but a maximum value of 156 is out of range. Okay. So we need to go back in and identify which codes these are because we want to answer our sheet. So we go descending, sort descending, and we can see, sorry, that one was okay, that one needed to sort ascending because the out of range was the minimum value of -1. So here you can see there's a system missing value. Case ID 11 has a system missing value, but that's not out of range. We will deal with that later, but we won't identify that as out of range because there is no value, so it's not out of range. But case 165, 97, 168 and 191 all have out of range values of -1. So we need to write them in over here. See, there's our 4 subject IDs and their missing values. Okay. Now what's probably happened here is the researcher has set a missing code value of -1 and they haven't told SPSS. So we'll go into variable view. We'll set a missing code value of -1 for TV because it can't be 9 or -9, it has to be a negative value because hours of TV viewing can take on any positive value. So our missing code value has to be a negative value. So now all 4 of those variables are not out of range, and then we need to adjust this, add -1 for case ID because it was a system missing value and we've now assigned a missing value code of -1. So we'll convert all system missing values to our new missing value code of -1. Now aggression had a really high value beyond 20 because it should only take on values from 0 to 20, but it's got a value of 156. So we can give it a missing value code of 99 because the values can only be from 0 to 20, or we could give it a missing value code of -1, whatever we like. We need to take note of the ID, number 59, and write in here that case 59 took on an out of range value of 156. And we also need to tell SPSS that we've now assigned a new missing code value of -1 for aggression. Okay, now the final thing we have to do is look for outliers. So we're going to go to Descriptives, Explore, and put our two continuous variables into our dependent list box. And we'll go to plots. We'll get rid of the stem and leaf, and we'll ask for a histogram, and we'll also get a box plot. So we'll scroll down and we'll have a look. We're just waiting for this to process. We'll scroll down to our box plots and histograms. So that histogram looks great. That's because all of the values are between 0 to 20. So there's no outliers. Again, the box plot looks good too. There's a little bit of negative skew, as you can see. It's a bit of a negative tail, which you can see up here. It's a bit of a negative tail. And I did satisfaction with life. Oops, sorry guys, that was a bit stupid. What time spent watching TV? You're really using the box plots to look at the outliers, but histograms can occasionally show something that the box plot doesn't. So we'll have a look. So here you can see actually two outliers on that histogram, and you can also see in the box plot there's a couple of values here that just represent the end of a positive tail, and there's a couple of outliers. Now we found that SPSS gives you these numbers up here are pretty inaccurate, so don't write those down. Go back here, go back to your actual data file, go to data view, and go to TV time. They're extremely positive values, so we'll sort by descending, and you'll see clearly that these values of 70 and 63 are much higher than the rest of the values. The next lowest value is 32, 30, 28. They all belong to the distribution, and these two values at the top really stand out. So take note of their ID, 96 and 43. Write it down in your answers. So subject ID 96 had an outlier of 70 for TV time, and subject ID 43 had an outlier of 63 for TV time. And that's it. You've done it. Well done. I'm looking forward to marking your workbooks.